Hi, I'm Kinley, that's my online name. Um, this is basically a video I'm doing, basically showing you guys how I get like unready. Whoa, you can see me without makeup, stuff like that. I don't have an actual like YouTube channel with videos, it's more of like shorts now. As you see, I don't have like a professional setup. These are posters in the background. Ever since I was little, I really wanted a YouTube channel, and I have some of my lovely subscribers here, so I'm gonna try to post like long form content that you can just watch when you're doing dishes. I personally like to watch like long rant videos and stuff when I'm doing the dishes, doing laundry, doing chores, cleaning my room, doing homework, stuff like that. Okay, so what I'm going to be doing in this video is I'm just going to be talking about stuff that I don't even know. Today I'm going to talk about like public schools and why public schools just genuinely suck. To back this up, I wrote an essay on I'm not gonna like just be reading an essay out. I wrote an essay on public schools, and I also have done multiple things of research, including .org sites and not .org. I meant .org sites and .gov sites based on public schools, and all the research is done, such as on colleges and national pages. So as I dive into the topics about my personal experiences and all the research I've done on public schooling, let me take my makeup off and get ready for bed. So to start this all off, I want to talk about just the education and how people retain it. So as many of other people retain the information, I think most people will agree that retaining the information means you actually have to accept it and like gain that knowledge. I'm sorry, this is my first video. I'm looking down, I'm looking at my sources, so you know, like I'm 100%. So in education, a lot of places, like a lot of public schools and stuff, do it more on the basis of just like do it on GPA or how good you do in a class or like whatever, as long as you pass the class. But as I stated before, I think most education people retain is that of one that we keep that knowledge in our brain. But basically, on the contrary to like what people want to be able to, want to be able to learn, like public schools don't provide a sense of like, oh, we want you to incorporate this in your life. Some teachers do, of course, but most don't. And speaking of public school classes with teachers, they don't keep the students engaged. Have you ever been to a class and there was literally nobody paying attention? There's people falling asleep and everything. Nobody wants to learn. But if you go to a specialized school that you specially got into, like a private academy or a charter academy, you will be more willing to learn. If you go to a private institution that specializes in one thing, or if you go to an arts institution that just like specializes in including the arts into your schoolwork, the children are more likely to stay engaged in class and not fall asleep because they know, oh, next period I'm going to go do this with this and I cannot fall asleep before it. I'm going to do this fun activity, or in this class today I am putting on a play for my English class like I do regularly. Like, this is going to be fun. This type of learning helps children stay happy in their teenage years. Most adults are like, oh, the teenage angst. Yes, because they're not learning properly from their surroundings and they're not going to learn in life. Public school does not teach you anything like that. The one thing that I'm really upset with though, like out of everything, is the fact that public schools will strip away or avoid other kids' like special talents. Some students have major potential inside their talents. Speaking of this, there's people. So one of the programs that does help you pay attention to that type of stuff in public school is mock trial. That is the best thing you can do as somebody who has a special interest in learning at a public school. Public school forces that type of strict education that everybody has to learn, doesn't incorporate what they're good at into the lessons, and just makes them feel like they're worth nothing because they can't use this in the real world. And can we talk about how creativity is like barely endorsed? Like, principals will not want any teachers to have decorations. It's like illegal in schools for some reason. The reason is, and some examples of this, the reason is teachers don't want you to get distracted when obviously you're trying to do something that helps you learn. An example of this is doodling on your papers. Did you know that there are studies, not studies, I will probably link them down below if I'm not lazy, but there are studies that show that doodling helps improve concentration. And don't you get in trouble in public school for doing that? The makeup's coming off. Look at this. Okay, and so if you are a student who needs special accommodations in public school, they're not going to let you go walk the halls like they would if you had talked to your teachers. You know your teachers because you're in a smaller school. Public schools are huge. Private schools and private institutions are smaller. You know your teachers, they know you, they know what you need. And my favorite thing with this whole arts thing, with arts schools and private institutions, everything is that teachers, even teachers and students, are allowed to be themselves. In the institution that I go to, teachers are allowed to have as many piercings as they want. Almost every single teacher has some type of creativity in their classroom and endorses safe behavior with illnesses, mental illnesses, and bullying. And to build off of what I said earlier about students with like disabilities and stuff not being able to step out of classrooms when needed, these teachers are, as I stated, way more like understanding. But if they're not really allowed to express their hyperfixation into a classroom and incorporate it into their work, don't you think that's literally gonna mess with their brain? And not even to mention the lack of good courses in public school. In my school, we have martial arts, we have dance, theater, improv, musical theater, all this stuff, and students still have a really good GPA. And what people do not care about what high school they go to, even though they should. You know why? Because that rides you into adulthood. Being around so many different people at private institution is going to help you. In private schools, I mean, especially when I go to an art school, I can say this, but going to an art school has exposed me to different groups of different people. It's not just all of these certain type of people like public school, like everybody's like the same, like all the cheerleaders are the same, all the nerds are the same. It's not like that. And maybe one day, one of the kids that goes to a public school might not have felt enough freedom to do what they truly wanted to. Maybe they could have been that dancer they wanted to be as a child. Maybe they could have been a lawyer like they wanted to be in middle school. Maybe they could have been an actress like they wanted to when they were 7. But you never know, because high schools, public high schools, middle schools do not. I repeat, they do not care about students' ambitions as long as it's not in the education field. You ever hear the term school kills artists? Because school really does kill artists. I mean, at least public schools. Because if you go to a school like mine, public school, like this school will literally encourage you to do anything. We have assemblies every single every single month, every single 1 or 2 months, and kids can just present whatever they want. It's like a talent show. All in all, I just believe that public schools can just completely damage a person. But don't you think that if public schools would allow kids to just do anything with their creativity, then the kids would just have way more fun and actually want to go to school? Because I know after going to like public schools and stuff, I definitely want to go to my school every day now, which is something I would have never said back when I was in middle school or back when I was in elementary school. And on a whole nother different topic, but it still relates to school, fighting isn't normal. Because in private schools, usually, depends on what private school you go to, there's like 0 fights the whole year. There might be like 1 in the beginning of the year, but there's never like fights. Hell, when I was in middle school and I went to a public school, there was drug deals happening in the bathrooms. Hell, when I was in middle school and I was a little teeny itty bitty like 12-year-old, 13-year-old, there was drug deals happening like in the hallways. And all in all, like obviously there's gonna be kids that like do drugs in high school and stuff, but I don't think that it shouldn't be happening like every single period. And the thing is, that's just public school. And there's a lot more to public school than what I just said, but a lot of that I've experienced firsthand, and I don't think it's right. Ever since moving to an art school, I think I've become more comfortable in my shell, and I've actually been able to like be who I am and not get flamed for it. Besides piercings, we have a piercing policy in my school. And I can post this video with people from my school seeing it without getting bullied, because practically nobody gets bullied here. My favorite thing to say is that I go to an art school and I'm like Jade from Victorious, because I'm partially goth. I mean, she's partially goth. I'm goth. And I go to an art school. But all in all, people are right when they say that school's killing artists. I mean, I saw it firsthand. I mean, I turned into a basic person when I was trying to hide my real personality during middle school. And I just believe that public schools aren't fit for everybody, and if you're having a hard time in public school, try transferring to private school. I think there's a lot more, unless you're going to a really private, like preppy one. Don't do that. I want to thank you guys all so much for watching my first video, and if you like listening to me talk, or just like listening and visualizing this and stuff, consider a subscribe, dog. Yeah, I try not to be like a fake. I'm trying to like pursue my personality onto the internet. A lot of people like me in person, so I thought I'd give the internet thing a try and see if people liked how I talk. That wasn't meant to be like cocky or anything. I just want people to hear me out in public schools and actually try to relate with me for once. Because I know there might be a lot of you guys in my situation right now. Or maybe you've graduated school and maybe you just like listening and relating back to the old times. Or maybe you're not even in high school yet. And it's okay, because I mean, you grow up sometime. But if you really enjoyed this video, and I don't know, I'm trying to like plug in a subscribe thing because I've never done this before. Subscribe if you want. I post my TikToks on here, and I'll probably post some more of this if this is good. Thank you guys.